Just for the party.
Okay.
Welcome to Ibiza. I need to erase the pencil marks. I'm not gonna. Have fun, laugh, flirt, dance, shake ass. Don't swim if you can't swim. JD Vance, no entry. Be extra nice to Jill. No alcohol or drugs. Did I miss anything? If you don't know me, my name is Jillian, and I live in New York City, in Brooklyn, and I moved here to go to sober living after rehab, and that's a whole other story, but then I stayed here, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Welcome back to the People Person podcast. My posture is going to be bad in like 2 seconds. It already is, and I'm probably going to put my hair up and down. It's just how it goes. I've been putting off filming this episode for weeks because I think I wanted it to be obviously perfect, but I think I also wanted to show up in this like positive, like entertaining, like the best foot forward way. And then I realized that's just not what I even want my podcast to be about. It's about showing up as I am, showing up authentically, showing up in the moment how I'm feeling, Trisha Paytas style. But I was like, I'd be going against everything I want for the show if I keep waiting and waiting and waiting until the perfect day when I'm feeling like, the sun is just shining on me and I have every positive thing in the world to say. But that's not what I want to get out of this. The whole thing is to be authentic. Whenever people are like, what's your podcast about? And I'm like, I interview people. In the past, yes. For a while, not gonna lie, I was really depressed and I went through one of the worst mental health episodes I have since I was like a senior in high school, which was really disappointing, especially because I haven't drank in 2 years. And I'm like, wait, but I'm not impacting my medication. Why does none of it work for me? I ended up doing ketamine treatments, which actually like changed my life, changed just my thought processes. And I can make a whole video about that. But back to that, it doesn't matter where I've been. People ask me, what's your podcast about? And I never really know what to say. And I'm just like, I just interview people. It used to be, I would be like, multitudes. I'm showing multitudes of each person. And then I was like, and I got an email from, I think it was like an agent, or I don't really know what he was doing, but we like connected on Threads, and then he couldn't help me, but he was like, just some advice. What are you doing to make your podcast different? Like, what, you need something that sets it apart. And I was like, yes, but I don't know. I came back to something that I've been really valuing a lot more, which is vulnerability. I also think just sit down interviews with everybody and their mother is just boring. So from now on, we're going to do, interviews, podcast space soon. Solo, where I'm just like at home, and then street interviews, which should be funny. And then sometimes just like vlogs. I don't know, whatever comes up. It's going to be more of a YouTube channel, but also have that same podcast format. But not as rigid, not as like, Now, when people ask me, what's your podcast about? Also, I don't want to be like, it's this thing where, everybody tells the truth and it's vulnerable. But the point isn't to always be positive or share advice. I can't give advice. Always be funny or anything like that. Like, I used to want to show the darkest part of each person and also the funniest and the lightest. And now it's just about showing everybody and every human an authentic way. We lack that today. Everybody's nonchalant. I hate the word nonchalant. I hate being nonchalant. But it's just society, somebody asks, how are you? You say good. How are you? Good. And I've just started answering how I am. I'm going through a little bit of a life change with a breakup, but something I've had to challenge myself to do. I'm like, I always tell people vulnerability is how you connect with others. It's how you form relationships. It's all these things. And I'm going to make a whole video about that, but I have to do it myself as well. And so now when people ask me, what is your podcast about? I would say, it sounds dramatic, I would want to say New Yorkers in their rawest form, but more realistically, I'm gonna say, I don't know. I don't want it to just be people's stories and perspectives tied in a bow. I want it to be real. I love the idea of somebody leaving, watching this, and being like, oh, I thought I was the only one who went through that. Something that also why I wanted to start a podcast and YouTube was because growing up, I found so much comfort in it. I found so much comfort in watching creators, even if they seemed like they had the best lives ever, not because I was jealous, but because I was like, oh, that's possible. Oh, it's possible to have fun with your life. It's possible to not be as depressed. And obviously, we only see what they put out, but during really, really, really hard times where I couldn't even face my own reality, I couldn't even get out of bed, I couldn't even do that, watching YouTube or like comfort creators was probably what kept me like sane. Not saying I wasn't sane, but like alive. It kept me distracted. It was an escape. For the meantime, social media did help me. And that sounds like a crazy thing to say because social media is actually so horrible for all of our mental health. But for me, sometimes social media and watching people, I don't know, just like talk about life and or like make funny videos and stuff like that has helped me in the worst moments of my life. So that's why I wanted to start People Person podcast. Also, I've been told I'm a people person, even though I don't think so. So the intro video was from my 2-year celebration for being sober. I got sober 2 years ago. Mostly like alcohol was an issue, but also weed. And then like I never did any other drugs. Before you judge, go read a neuroscience article about addiction, then come back here, okay? Because people judge people who are addicted to things without even understanding it's literally science. If you use it enough, if you have genes, if you, all these factors, you will become. Just not everybody's open about it and not everybody's open to getting help. But addiction is a disease. It's a disease. I'm gonna live, like, I can't drink like a normal person, and that's okay because my brain is different. I started drinking younger. I had pre-existing mental health conditions. Like, yes, obviously my brain is going to adapt to want it. I'll actually tag a neuroscience article in the description that explains how your brain changes. So if you struggle with addiction, you're not crazy. See, I'm doing my hair thing. Around 2 years ago, I had a really bad 4th of July bender, and I kind of tried to get sober before, but this time I was just like, I don't know. And I couldn't like do anything for days. I was just like in my bed, and I just graduated college, and I was like, maybe I'll like stop drinking or go to like recovery meetings or something like that. And then I made a TikTok about this, but my therapist, I opened up to her about my drinking, and she said, do you want to go to rehab? I said yes, and now I'm here. I don't know why I said yes. It was so impulsive. That was impulsive. Going to rehab was impulsive. But everything from this pizza box to like this cool logo cup, it's because of that. Oh, in my apartment. And like my cats and everything like that. And it's such a blessing. And I haven't had that much time to reflect on the past 2 years because I've been dealing with like that transition in my life. I was 22 and I was like, my life is over. Oh my God, everybody knows now. I admitted to have a drinking problem. Nobody's ever gonna let me drink again. I thought my life was over. The second I put a drink down, my life started. And it hasn't been easy, but something about people who get sober is that they raw dog life. I think another precursor about anybody, including myself, that talks about addiction or sobriety or recovery online is that they can relapse at any moment, and it's like nobody else's fault. Being in recovery means waking up every day and choosing the harder handle, because you don't always get rewarded, but it's a lot better life than you would have had before. I probably would have died, honestly. I would like withdrawal all the time by myself. I feel like some people like talk about sobriety like so confidently, and they're like, yeah, this blah blah blah, and I'm just like, I hope. If I'm the luckiest woman in the world, I'll die sober. I can't just act like I know everything, because I don't. I actually don't know anything. But that's why around this 2-year mark, I had time to reflect. And I was like, my first year was just like chaotic because I lived in sober living. Like, it was kind of, you had that pink cloud where you're like, wait, sobriety's awesome. Life is awesome again. And then it starts to get a little harder, and just my first year, I was always surrounded by other sober people. My second year was hard. I started having to deal with all the things that I drank over, like my severe anxiety. I have somatic symptoms. They are a lot better now. But last summer, I spent half a day. I would like start off the day on a positive note. I'd be like, no, I'm not getting sick today. Like noon or 1 p.m. hit, I would have to come home and lie down, and I would have nausea, and it would come out of nowhere, and it really affected my life. That was hard because it was an unconscious thing. It was like something my body learned, but when I was drinking, I didn't have to worry about that. The only sickness I was like shaking and twitching on like a Sunday night because I was withdrawing. This is uncomfortable for my feet. Yeah, I went through that. I remember like the 4th month maybe, after drinking, I would have like anxiety attacks and sometimes like panic attacks where I thought I was going to die every single day. Medication doesn't work for me, mind you. So I went through just like this horrible anxiety and I'm still dealing with it. Like, I have such bad anxiety. That's why I didn't even want to film this, because every time I thought about it, I would start getting like, because everything needs to be perfect, or I don't know what is going to happen in the future. I want to be successful. I want this. Oh my God, what happened? Remember that time you failed? A strength about sober people is that you just have to handle it. You have to learn to cope. It's like crazy. Like, I use coping skills now. It's really weird. Something I've learned about people who are sober is I notice they're a lot more grounded. And that's something I try to be. I'm not that good at it because I'm either like hysterical and I'm the only one who deals with anxiety, or I'm just like crazy. But I try my best to be. And a lot of them are spiritual and connect. Not spiritual in like a religious sense, but like spiritual in a way that's like helping others and like, you know, for the greater good of the community. And that's something that I feel like if you're not sober and you're just like walking through the days of life and you're just existing, like, you don't get that. And also, we feel so many things deeper. That's the same with anybody with a mental illness, and just some people in general. When you feel things deeper and like pain deeper, you also feel better things deeper. And I've known some people who just kind of like go through life and they never have like mental breakdowns like me. I'm like, all right, what are you doing? Like, are you even living? I don't know where I'm going with this. Been reflecting, and I'm just like, oh wow, I went through a lot of work in therapy, coming to terms with things that have happened up until entering rehab, and then even after rehab, and not drinking over it because it's an escape, but it makes it'll make the next day 20 times worse, and then everyone's mad at you. But the reason I'm like had to sit down and reflect was because I was like, wait, I have so many blessings, yet I'm complaining and I'm anxious every single day. I'm anxious about the future. I need to get this. I need to prove this to this person. I need to succeed in this. I need to make sure this person's okay. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh my God, I have a 1-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. Granted, I live in Bushwick. No, Bushwick is fine. But I have a beautiful apartment, and I have a bedroom, like in New York City, and a living room, and my washer dryer's down the hall. And I recently got 2 kittens, which I wasn't going to get a cat because I couldn't afford one, but then I got a job that's like part-time and I don't do that well. And I'm just like lucky that my parents know that if I'm in New York City, I have a sober community, so I stay sober. I forget how I go to sleep and I remember everything when I wake up. I go to sleep and I get like, well, I don't always get quality sleep because I'm anxious, but I sleep. And I definitely don't fully take care of my body, but I'm not poisoning my liver, poisoning myself with like Red 40 or whatever that chemical with the red food dye is. I'm a lot more mature. Sometimes I'll be in my apartment and I'm like, wait, I'm allowed to live alone? There was a time where my parents like got nervous every time I left the house. And I'm like living alone, like it's messy right now, I had a party last night, but where I try to keep it clean and I feed myself. And it seems like, yeah, you're an adult, you're 24 years old. That's a big thing for me. I don't always feed myself. A lot of the time it's like ice cream for dinner or just snacks. And I forget so easily how far I've come and just like the level of maturity I've developed. And also the confidence, like somebody I met when I was in rehab really gave me the confidence that like, just do what you want to do. And I've always wanted to do YouTube or have a podcast or just like talk for a living. Being sober gave me the confidence to actually do it because I'm not focused on where's the next drink, where's the next this. Oh, I gotta be seen at the bar. I want this person to see me, blah, 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 blah. Situationship, yada, yada, yada. I can respond to situations in the healthiest form that I can try my best each day. And also, I still have so much fun. Especially when you're young, you're like, my life is over. And if you live in a city, it's actually way easier to find people that are also sober. So you have like friends and stuff like that. I know if I lived at home, like where I grew up, I would not have a single sober friend. And I would just be with like old people all day. But the old people get it. And some of them are fun. You will never, ever regret it. And my only advice, I guess, how long have I been talking? Not that long. My only piece of advice to getting sober, and you don't have to have a problem, and you don't even have to use this advice to get sober. You can use this for anything. I'm giving advice. Number 1 rule broken. Wake up every day and say, I'm going to give it a shot. Some people say like 1 day at a time. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to give today a shot. I'm not going to drink today. I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to give it a shot. And that can go with anything. Like, oh my God, I'm so depressed. You know what? I'm just going to survive today. I'm just going to live another day. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see what happens. Just be curious. You don't have to be happy about it. You don't have to be excited about it. Just say, I'm going to give it a shot. And I kept saying that over and over and over, and I have to continue saying that. There's sometimes when I'm like hysterical, I'm like, what's the point of this? Just give it a shot. Whatever it is that's hard and you want to change in your life or whatever, it's like literally keeping you underground. Like sometimes it's living. Like sometimes I totally acknowledge that sometimes waking up every day, you're like, I don't want to do this again. Just give it a shot. Please subscribe, please subscribe, please subscribe. We're going to have a lot of fun street interviews, fun guests. I've been trying to get Curtis Lewa on my podcast for months now because I think he's the funniest person to ever like literally step foot in New York City, but his team never responds to me. Well, the first time they did and they're like, oh, he's not doing press. That's going to air after the race. I was like, okay, let me know. I'll follow back up. And then I followed up after the race, and I don't know what the excuse was or if they even responded, but I did again, and I think I commented. No, I DM'd him. I might just start commenting on his photos on Instagram. That might get me in some trouble. We're starting a new era, and I'm glad you're here.